You first have to start off with a really strong patch. Now I'm going to be using this one, but you can use any bass, which is a saw that is well processed and gives you good funk vibes. Okay, that's going to be the first step. If you have a favorite artist that you like the vibe of, let's say Sosa, Pausa, whoever it may be, look at the scale the song that you like is in, because the scale will dictate what notes you are allowed to play. And it's very important that you pick the right scale. For example, in some Sosa tracks, it almost sounds kind of porno, kind of blues. And we do have a scale called minor blues, which I personally love to use when I work on this kind of stuff. And it sounds like this. The thing that changes is instead of me playing the B note in this D sharp, I'm going to be playing the A, okay? So I always recommend that you have Spotify, YouTube, something open, and that you start looking at songs, start hearing the rhythms, and don't be scared to steal like an artist. This is a book that someone wrote, which makes the case that everything in terms of music has already been done, and the way that you create new music is by using, let's say, the rhythm of a funk track with the sounds of a tech house track with the vocals of a hip-hop track, and you put that together, you make something new. So steal like an artist. Don't just steal from one person, steal from multiple sources, right? So if I go and hear this song Bump by Sosa, which I'm not going to do here, then it will have a rhythm, and I can choose to copy parts of that rhythm. But what you want to do, the big but here, is that you want to go and look at other artists as well, take from there as well, so that you come up with something new. Like from scratch, I always recommend that you go into a 16th grid, okay, and you start working on the rhythm first, okay? Try and get this to sound as good as you can. So now, some tips here will be to focus more on the 16 rhythms and try not to land too much on the beat. That just means like on the kick or on the offbeat, because it sounds robotic. Instead, what you want to be doing is using a combination of on beat with 16th hits, which are going to be found here and here, because that's where you're going to feel more of the, again, more of that head bopping motion. Now, I did skip a step. There is this cool groove feature here in Ableton that I want you to use. And I want you to go down to the 16ths, and I want you to pick anything that you like from here, from 59 all the way to 66. This is going to grab these notes that land on the 16th, which are going to be here, these, and it's going to shift them to the right just a tiny bit like this. Look at that. That already sounds swinging. We're jacking there. But if we land on beat, it's still good. It's just this number next to it is how intensive is the swing going to be. Okay, so we're going to add that in. Boom. And we can go 666. We could go 59. Experiment with either one if you want A and B with your favorite artist, and find one that fits for what you want. So for this, how about we go scared triple hit? Now, here's the other thing as I'm doing this, right? I'm going to be filling this up. This is where it's kind of hard to kind of mimic Sosa or some of the top guys sometimes, because, for instance, Sosa, the way he does these rhythms are just insane. Like he lives big gaps. And there is a saying when it comes to rhythm, the silence is what gives to the rhythm. If there is no silence, there is no rhythm. Okay, so you definitely want to kind of, from here, it's time to start picking notes. Now, there are a couple of tricks I can give you here. Number one, octave jumps are king. What that means is you do this, you're already sounding funky, right? These are octave jumps that we can do in order to make it sound funky, baby. So from there, the other thing is the notes you pick are very important. Now, this is why we created the rhythm first, because when we create the rhythm first, if you have no idea, from here, it's note selection, right? And as you do this, you're going to notice your brain, or you're going to go like, oh, I want this note to hit here now. And then we do the octave jump. Just don't. So velocities, when you have them in a patch, it's super useful because check this out. I can use this to control how the bass will sound, and this adds even more to the funky stuff. Now, this is more advanced, even though velocity is a very simple thing in nature. I call it advanced because it's the things that we forget to do. So for instance, I could go quiet, and when I jump up, then back. go ham here. Here we're gliding. Let's move this back. Now let's sidechain the bass a bit. And for this, let's use something interesting just to kind of add more knowledge to your repertoire so you can become the best and rap evil sounds, homie, the Ninja Fam. We can do a sidechain here, which I would go with this if I want the top part of the bass to pop. From their sidechain on, I link the kick over there. Like this. Keep it simple. Okay, now the next thing that we can add to this funky bass, and this is taking it a step further because we've created a funky bass. So just to review real quick, right? 16ths, swing, king, octave jumps, right? Working our way down the scale here. One last thing I forgot to mention is if I wanted to really exploit that blues scale a lot, then I would focus it around these 3 notes here because this is what adds the feeling to the scale. Or again, you guys can correct me in the chat or comment. I'm open to it. I'm always open to learning. Sets the mode, sets the tone for the scale that we are in. Now here's the part where it gets even crazier, right? We can duplicate that. And this is where having a huge amount of presets is a good thing, man. I mean, I'm a sound designer, producer, and I'm more of a sound designer, and I've made so many patches. Like, but the cool thing about this, check this out. I can use all of them. You know, when I'm working on music, I'm not gonna lie. I've been in production sessions where people go, how do you work so fast and make all these good ideas? I'm like, well, because I have all my damn presets that I've made. Now, this doesn't have to be my presets. These are presets from people that you enjoy the sound design of, right? Some of you guys might like Sam Smyers. Some of you guys might like Sounds of Blanc if they make certain presets. Some of you guys might like Cashmere's. Some of you guys LXNT, right? But point being, you buy these and you create a sound with them, right? And those become part of your library. I become a part of you. And what presets you have will really dictate how you're going to sound, right? And that's why it's important. In a sense, it's kind of like taste. So for instance, I could grab any bass here, like this one, and then I can now start to use it to accent certain parts of the bass. Yeah, there we go. Let's reduce a bit on the reverb delay. And let's make it quiet. And from there, I'll do it. There we go. So again, this is where like knowing a bit of sound design helps because you can grab the presets and dictate for what you need for your song. I like that. So we're gonna have that. And then I can add it back here and then do it again. And that becomes easier to do there. Now you don't have to follow at the end of every 4 bars. In fact, that's the cool thing that Sosa and Pausa and these big guys are good at is that they're very unpredictable to where they add these accents, right? As a guy making a tutorial on their sound, it's hard for me to kind of learn how they get that intuition, but we can always break down the theory, the techniques that they use so that we can do our own version of it. The important part is somewhere along those lines, you want to get inspired to the point where you can do your own, right? So for instance, here, I'm going to hit D now. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete this like this, and I'm going to move this. And now we're doing more call and response over a bass. Anything that will give a different taste. Like that, look. Did it. And there we go. So now we have. And I want to add this as well. Boom, boom, boom. And again, swings at it. Now from here, I do want to accent that, but since I don't want this to repeat, I'm going to use another one. And this is going to be somewhat like the C part, right? So if you break this down, it's A, B, back to A, or you can do something else like a C there. And then C, which is going to be different. So usually for my C's, I like to do something crazy with the last portion. Like for instance, the bass can open up like crazy as well, just using the velocity and a bit of modulation as well. Here, you know, I'm starting to feel it a bit. Fuck. And don't be scared to highlight here. Go 16s, right? Go 130 seconds. Grab some of these Command E. And then you get those. That's pro, right? And it's all about having fun there. Okay, so as you can see, there's a couple of things that we've done in order to achieve a funky bass line. Is it at the level of Pals and Sosa? Well, that's why they are who they are, right? But the important thing for us to learn from this is that we learn, right? We learn to do this and we find ways to do it in our own music. Instead of using this plug, we can go, oh, I'm going to go to a melodic techno pack and see if there's like something there that might work, because no one's going to be using that in tech house. Like that. Look at that. Boom. Right? So it's all about, one, having fun and knowing how to execute, knowing the theory. Once you know the theory, practice it. And I promise you, theory will never misguide you. Will it always guarantee bangers? No, but it will always guarantee that you sound solid, that you sound decent to the normal person. And from there, you can then focus more on the experimental side to get it to where, you know, your favorite artists are at. Or do it in your own way where you can say, this was made by me and this is fucking yeah. And people will reference this shit. They're going to start using like, I don't know, dubstep wobs instead. But with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this tutorial, consider subscribing. I'm all about teaching you guys what you have to know, because your success is my success, okay? And if you want to support my sound design work, you can head over to evilsounds.com. You can find all my sound design work there. Check it out, and you guys have a great rest of your day.